My fundamental question is that negotiation with the United States we're watching? I mean, he was saying things, we can close the Strait of Hormuz if we want, but we don't really want to. Is that a negotiation pointing toward a diplomatic resolution, or are we going apart towards something much more confrontational?
Well, I think it is a lot of political theater. That was a fairly thuggish turn of phrase, reminding everybody that Iran could and has, in fact, could close the Strait of Hormuz, and it certainly can disrupt shipping, as it has done periodically over the last 30-some years, most notably in the late 1980s. So reminding international shippers and the neighbors and so forth that Iran can disrupt shipping is a not-so-veiled threat. But in a larger sense, I think what the foreign minister is engaging in is continued political theater. Now, both sides are doing that. So they're at an impasse. There's a lot of jockeying for leverage, and I think that's the way you could look at Iran's activities for the last 2 months.
We had an agreement called the JCPOA that President Trump said, I'm not interested in. It's not good enough because it didn't go far enough.
Yes.
It dealt with nuclear issues, didn't deal with other issues. Mr. Zarif, in another part of the interview with Mr. Micklethwaite, said that we have shot ourselves in the foot by pulling out of that. Is our leverage greater today than before we pulled out, or less today?
Well, arguably, so we have a whole series of tools, and the most prominent tools that are in use right now by the administration are economic, are sanctions, and they are having a devastating effect on Iran's economy, on purchasing power, on the Iranian public. As to whether they are actually achieving the ends, which are to change Iranian behavior in the region and to drive Iran to the negotiating table, these are the words of the administration, is an open question. In fact, they're not having that effect as yet. And when that might occur is an open question. In fact, many people believe that there is too elastic a connection between sanctions and what the administration ostensibly is driving for. So departing the nuclear agreement was one thing, and I do think in the grand scheme of things, we've left ourselves a bit exposed in terms of collective action. But I also think that the administration's course doesn't really take us where they want to go.